All right, next up in lesson 2-2 is the concept of coterminal angles. So again, essentially what we're looking at for coterminal would just be simply put, if I have, say, 30-degree angle. 30 degrees is my original angle. Any coterminal angle would be any angle who ends at the same spot. So instead of just going up 30 degrees, if I went all the way around the circle 360 plus another 30. So another coterminal would be 390 degrees. Because again, if I was just given 390 and said, draw this angle, I would end at the exact same spot as the 30-degree angle. Another way of looking at that would be, instead of doing it plus 360, I could say, hey, you know what? Maybe I go around the circle the other direction, and I call that negative 330 degrees. So if I were to be told plot negative 330 and overlay that on top of just 30, they would look exactly the same. And that's the idea behind a coterminal angle. So with that said, we are starting with degree angles. Then we work our way into radians. So question 8, our first problem with this, it's asking for one positive and one negative. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take in my calculator and say negative 170. I'm going to add 360 degrees to that. So I'm at 190. So one answer is 190 degrees. That is a positive coterminal angle. And if you think about it, negative, so real quick, just on this one, negative 170 is right here, right? Because negative 180 would be halfway around the circle. So negative 170 is here. Think about what does 190 look like, right? So 190 is going around positive. That would be like going 180 plus another 10 there. So again, those are coterminal angles. Easiest way to look at it is take the angle you started with and either add one set of 360 or subtract it. If they want negative coterminal angles, it's just as simple. We take negative 170 and we subtract 360 degrees. We get negative 530. That's as simple as the question is. Okay, there are multiple answers. Like if I were to take 190 plus 360, I'd get another coterminal positive angle. If we look at question 9, 9 will be not different, but we can't just simply take 520. So here we take 520 minus 360. Okay, well, last time we took a minus 360 and we had a negative number. Well, this time I got positive 160. Well, that works, right? That's not a negative, it's a positive coterminal, so it still works. I can still box that in. But the problem is I still need a negative, so I'm just going to simply take that answer, minus 360. I just keep subtracting 360 until I'm in a negative value. So negative 200. There you go. So negative 200, if I go around the circle backwards to negative 200, or around the circle positive and at 520, I would be looking like the same angle. So again, I could have also, in standard form, I would have said, not standard form, but standard procedure, I would have done this, 520 plus 360. I would also say 880 is also acceptable. So 160, 880, there's lots of multiple answers here. 10, you know what, I'm just going to write these out. I did add, so 700 degrees works. If I were to take minus 360, it's negative 20 degrees. Okay. Number 11. Number 11, I took negative 710. Let's see, negative 710, that's where we started, plus 360. So negative 350 works. And if I enter one more time, I'm going to add 360 first. So negative 350 and 10 are the two answers all right. Because even though I added 360 twice, I mean, it works. So negative 350 and 10 degrees work. Okay, so you get the idea. All you're doing is adding 360 or subtracting 360, and you may have to do it a couple times until you get a positive or a negative that you're looking for, but it's as simple as that. Now, on 12 to 15, it's a little bit different. 12 to 15 looks like this. Instead of saying we add 360, we add 2 pi. Or instead of subtracting 360, we subtract 2 pi. But when we say that, like, hey, let's add 2 pi, well, we have a fraction and a kind of whole number looking thing here. So a fraction and non-fraction, I always immediately look at these and say, well, I'm not going to take 19 pi over 12 plus 2 pi. I'm going to take 19 pi over 12 plus 2 pi in terms of the fraction I'm given. So I'm going to rewrite it as 24 pi over 12, which is 2 pi. But now I have fractions with the same denominators. I can just add them together. So 19 plus 24, right? So 19, 24. So one perfectly acceptable answer, 43 pi over 12. That is a positive coterminal angle. Try and get rid of some of this chicken scratch up here. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to subtract 24 pi over 12. So 19 minus 24, that's negative 5 pi over 12. That does give us a negative coterminal angle, so those are two perfectly acceptable answers. 13, I'm going to be able to add 2 pi, so I'm going to add 6 pi over 3. I get 2 pi over 3. And if I subtract 6 pi over 3, or subtract 2 pi, I get negative 10 pi over 3. Again, I don't care if you're boxing in one big answer or each one separately. As long as you have one positive, one negative, that does terminate at the same spot. Question 14. 14, here's where we get kind of like in question 11. It's similar just simply because if I were to say take and add 18 pi over 9, so if we add 2 pi to this, negative 20 plus 18, that's negative 2 pi over 9, which is okay. Like, we still get an answer we can box in, right? That's negative 2 pi over 9. But we still don't have a positive. Like, if we were to subtract 18 pi over 9, that's just another negative coterminal. So instead, we're going to add one set of 18 pi over 9 to get this boxed in answer. Then we're going to add it again. And negative 2 pi over 9 plus 18 pi over 9 is 16 pi over 9. And we can keep going. You could have subtracted and said negative 38 pi over 9. That's also an acceptable answer. But again, there's always this idea that there's infinite answers. Our last one, 59 pi over 18. Woof, that's a big one. In order to do that, I know that I'm going to have to subtract 36 pi over 18 to at least get a negative. But even if I do this, 59 minus 36, I get 23 pi over 18. So that's one answer. It's my positive. I'm going to subtract another 36 pi over 18. 23 minus 36, that is negative 13 pi over 18. Okay. Again, the whole idea is add and subtract 360 until you get an answer, or you add and subtract 2 pi, which will look different every time. It depends on your denominator, but if you double that denominator and write it, say, like in question 12, 24 pi over 12, or 6 pi over 3, until you get a positive and a negative. So there it is. That's the next set, 8 through 15, and we'll have one more video on the last set of problems.